Okay, jumping into the next one. So this is a situation that's been going on for I know a few weeks, maybe a little bit over a month, but the Memphis Animal Services (MAS) has had issues. I think a dog died while in MAS care, and the director of MAS was removed. And there was some part of the story where he was previously employed in Texas and was removed from a job there, then came here to Memphis, and there's more incidences. So let's take a look to see what this story says about Memphis Animal Shelter. So the story is by WREG. City Council says MAS a hot mess after latest controversy. All right. During Tuesday's City Council meeting, council members emphasized the need for better leadership within Memphis Animal Services. Our Memphis Animal Services is a hot mess right now. City Councilwoman Yolanda Cooper Sutton said, "We are going to have to get our own house clean before we start adding stuff to our house." 100% true statement. City council members dissected and eventually passed a resolution with Shelby County to house animals and collect rabies vaccination fees. This comes after MAS Director Ty Coleman was placed on leave pending an investigation after a dog died of a heat-related illness in the shelter's custody. The mayor has met with the current staff, past staff, and he's going to meet with advocates. Antonio Adams said, "We are going to deliver the leadership to MAS that it deserves and needs." City officials haven't released any information on the status of Coleman's investigation, its focus, or who is conducting it. Chief Adams said the city needs more time to update council members. Addressing the elephant in the room as we go through some turbulent times at MAS, we are continuing to stabilize services there, Adams said. That turbulence is where many council members say the focus should lie. From all indications, we're not able to support municipalities until we get it straight first here, Councilwoman Rhonda Logan said. The city council will meet again in 2 weeks for an update on MAS leadership and plans. Yeah, this is one of those deals that, I don't know who Ty Coleman is. Again, it seems it was said that he came from Texas, was released from a job there, and somehow ended up in Memphis and was appointed. He was an interim director and then was appointed to be director of Memphis Animal Services. So, it's a tough deal. You have a lot of people that are advocates for animals, that champion their cause. They care about the welfare and well-being of animals that can't do for themselves. A lot of these animals end up in Memphis Animal Services, and so when they die, it's always it's sad to hear for sure. But it sounds like Mayor Young's trying to get there doesn't need to be any more heat than necessary on the administration, and he's trying to get things ironed out so that it's ran the way that he sees that it needs to be run. Now, I would imagine if he's a chief, I think that's a directed position, so Mayor Young would have slotted him for this position. But I don't know whether or not that may be because Ty Coleman was an interim director first, moved into the director position. He had a period of time that he's shown himself to be capable as a director for Memphis Animal Services. But when things happen, and I don't know why it was heat, that hot in the facility where the dog died, if that was the only dog or were there more dogs suffering from heat exhaustion. But I know when those the advocates come after you, mountains will be moved. And so if it was necessary for that director to be removed, then he needs to be removed. And then again, once things start happening, folks start looking into your past, where you come from, what happened in the last stop that you were at. People will definitely make things happen, and will dig up your past. So, I mean, and your past doesn't define your present necessarily. It doesn't have to. But you want to be on things at all times. And normally that was a major event, obviously, with Memphis Animal Services. We wouldn't know, or I wouldn't know because I'm not there in that environment and with that staff. So I don't know if that is one single event or if there's been many things that have occurred, just not to that magnitude. And that was the straw that broke the camel's back. I'm not sure. But neither here nor there, was enough to have that director removed. So you would think that there were more things going on that people disagreed with or didn't like past that one dog passing or past this latest heat incident. And even just in that little piece, the man wasn't doing his job. So, but these are the things that you have to filter out when you have a new administration coming on board. Mayor Paul Young doesn't know necessarily about that person that was in that position previously or in that interim period. Obviously, nothing happened in the interim period that looked like a red flag to him. So if he was directed to that position, and I think that that's the case in those, and since it's a city government, it's a government entity. I think it's appointed. And so he may have not had any bad things that happened during that interim period of time. They slide him as the director and things start popping up and this happens. So it's good that, obviously they're doing whatever investigation that'll weed out all the nonsense and leave just the real facts. And we can know what was actually happening with that situation. But you're gonna find situations where Mayor Paul Young's gonna run into he'll run into things like this during the onset. We're at 6 months now, or just over 6 months, and of his administration. And as things pop up, then he needs to handle those things, and how he handles those things tell you more about the administration as a whole. Obviously government plays a big part in our community. And so how they handle these types of auxiliary or these types of minor situations gives you a good idea of how they'll handle the whole. So I don't have any problem with what they're doing as far as removing the director, meeting with the staff to find out what you have to triage or investigate or gather information, with the people that are the boots on the ground, those people that are in that field. And then you make decisions from there. So, I mean, he's doing the right things. Now, there was another story about another, and this also includes the Memphis Animal Shelter, where they name a interim director. So this is by ABC 24. And city names interim director for Memphis Animal Services as they investigate director Ty Coleman. All right. So Mary Claire Broids will oversee. Why is it always a name that is difficult to pronounce? Will oversee MAS operations. She's currently the manager of strategic initiatives at Memphis Division of Housing and Community Development. It's interesting that they took someone from Memphis Division of Housing and Community Development and plugged them in at Memphis Animal Services. I guess if you're at a certain qualification and you're not overseeing necessarily the day-to-day tasks, you're overseeing the overall operation. You have the people there that can report up to you and tell you what's going on and kind of keep you in the loop, and you can make decisions appropriately. But all right, the city of Memphis named a longtime community development administrator as the interim director of Memphis Animal Services as they continue to investigate Director Ty Coleman. Mary Claire Broyes, the manager of strategic initiatives for Memphis Division of Housing and Community Development, will lead operations of the animal shelter, a city spokesperson said. Broyes previously worked in management for Habitat for Humanity of Greater Memphis. MAS Director Ty Coleman was placed on leave on June 28th, so about 2 weeks ago, as the city started an investigation on MAS practices after a dog died in their play yard in triple-digit heat on June 24th. In a statement, MAS said preliminary information suggests the dog's death was heat-related. They said an exact cause of death has not been determined. MAS said it has adjusted the outdoor play areas to have more shade, and they are working with staff to ensure the well-being of all animals in their care. Coleman began working as interim director on September 5th, 2023. So he came in on September 5th last year, after previously serving as animal services director or manager for the city of Midland, and that's in Texas, and animal services director for the city of Sherman. And they stop it there. So he was an interim director here September of last year, and was the animal services manager and a director in the city of Sherman, and the manager for Midland. Okay, so yeah, it is good that they have somebody they plug in. Obviously, I don't know what type of background you have to be, you have to be a chief of Memphis Animal Services. Obviously, you don't have to be in the animal field of expertise. So they plug somebody from another department that they currently have and put her there. Yeah, because she is a manager of strategic initiatives for Memphis Division of Housing and Community Development. Yeah, I'd be interested to see anybody else's ideas on this. You know, you don't want to see anything like that happening, but the bigger picture for me is that the city government the wheels are oiled and they're getting on top of things immediately, because advocate groups and people that champion that cause will challenge situations that aren't the way that they're supposed to be, as they should. And the bigger deal for me is seeing how the administration and our new mayor, Mayor Paul Young, see how they react to those situations, what they do. And again, it looks like they're doing a pretty damn good job. So good on all of these people. And just another, I mean, it's a good resource for the city to have. I'm glad that, I believe that that's something that every city ultimately requires. But yeah, our government at work. All right, so we'll head to the next one.